Cool. Let's bring in former Australian ambassador to Israel, Dave Sharma, and former Israeli ambassador to Australia, Mark Soffer. Welcome to you both. Thank you so much for your time. Mark, I want to start with you, and I want to ask you about the question of how to retrieve these hostages. Will the priority be crushing Hamas or retrieving the citizens, and how does this work?
Well, first and foremost, I think number one on the list is retrieving the hostages. This for Israel always has been the saving of lives is prime, not only for Israel but for the Jewish world and for any civilized person throughout history. So yes, this is the major problem I think facing us right now, and we're going to have to deal with it in a very delicate way. There is already now a projector, which we call somebody who's actually involved in the project and running it, a very senior military officer, and things will be held behind the scenes that we won't know anything at all about it, and nobody will know until the end, my reckoning.
Dave Sharma, how do you think this should happen now? I mean, would this have to be a ground offensive? Because airstrikes, I mean, you just don't know who you'd kill.
Look, I think this is going to be an incredibly difficult operation, and Israel obviously will need to balance the rightful desire of to get back its citizens and the families of those who have been abducted and kidnapped with its military objectives, which seem clearly to me to be the complete destruction of Hamas, the capture or killing of its military leadership, and the annihilation of Hamas military infrastructure. I don't see how this conflict can end any other way. But reconciling that objective with protecting or potentially rescuing these hostages is very difficult. I mean, Hamas will use these hostages not only for political propaganda purposes, not only for military leverage, but as human shields as well.
I know we've only seen some videos that they've released, but we haven't even started to see the full-blown propaganda yet. Mark, Israel's Defence Force and Mossad is meant to be the best in the world. The Defence Force meant to be the fourth strongest in the world. So why were they missing in action? Why didn't they protect Israeli citizens when the siege began on Saturday?
Well, it's far too early to say, of course, at this stage. I think clearly and palpably there was a major lapse in intelligence and information. This is apparent. But right now, all focus and every focus must be made on the military aspects of the war that we're in. And I use the word war with a great deal of trepidation, but nonetheless that is what it is. And only after it's over and the strategic aims have been achieved, the strategic aims that Dave just spoke about, will the entire investigation of what happened, how it happened, not just the intelligence, obvious failure, but possibly other military aspects of the war in the first couple of days will be handled.